All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2021 East Leyden Business Incubator Final Pitches. I know this looks a little different than what we're used to, but I would first off like to thank for everybody that has helped out with our program, that has helped out and volunteered. Thank you to the West Mentors for giving our students some great feedback and different eyes on these presentations. Our students have worked extremely hard this year, especially given the circumstances. Be a little. Okay, sorry about that. Still trying to figure out the technical issues and logistics here. But again, thanks to our tech department for putting this all together, and thanks for everyone that's involved to really help our students achieve their goals this year. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first group. The way this will go, we have 3 groups today, and after every single group, there will be a question and answer segment where our judges will go ahead and talk and kind of dig into any issues or questions they believe they want to ask each group, okay? So again, thank you very much. And without further ado, Mr. Kevin Ryan, our one student here today from Group 1, we have enrollage. Oh, there I am.
Hi, I'm Ariana.
I'm Kevin, and this is enrollage. Hi, are you having trouble finding a job that's right for you? High number of college graduates struggle to find jobs after graduating, despite them receiving a diploma. That's the problem that we are enrolled hope to solve. If you're one of these people, I'd like you to take some time to listen. Let's talk about that. Time. We'll start with the past. Now, when Enrollage started out, we were just trying to get the business ideas. And our first business idea was a gold mine. Smell a clock. It was a clock that you sensed instead of sound to wake you up. To ask what inspiration was, I would tell you the fact that we were all tired and had to pitch business ideas before any of us ate breakfast. Then another idea came. Enrollage. That's our old logo there. Enrollage is a job searching website that would connect college degrees straight to jobs without any extraneous factors like other job searching websites. And despite my best protests, we chose it over the smell of clock. Why is that? Why did a group of high school kids choose a website for college kids and older? The answer, which is also my next topic, is future. Future's scary. After college, it gets even scarier. Like everything you work towards, all the classes you took, all the grades you struggled to get, ended up landing you a job at some generic fast food joint. It's scary, but it's remarkably common. Knowing that, how can we not worry about the future? The future is always uncertain. In another world, I'm presenting Smell a Clock to you all, and making jokes about a weird website idea. Seem to have lost my place. I'm just gonna go to the next part. And that's why that's why we want to create Spark to take control of people's lives so they can have the job they want. And when can you take control? Right now, in the present. Use Enrollage today in order to take control of your life and make the future for you safer and more affordable. Find success in the workplace to any degree with Enrollage. Next up is our video demo.
And that's our video to show the kind of people needing to watch this video. Now here's Ariana with our learning analysis.
When coming up with this new business idea, we of course had to survey as many college graduates or undergraduates we knew to truly see if this was an issue. As we expected, it mostly was, thus we wanted to take the complaints our survey takers gave us and tried learning from them, and then finally came up with our wonderful business idea in Rollage. To show the kind of people that'll use our product, here's Victoria with our customer persona.
So this is our customer persona. His name is Kyle. He's 22 years old. Kyle's on a cashier job look. He rents an apartment with his friends. He also loves to party on the weekends and is still paying off college debt. Kyle is having a hard time finding a job that best fits him and his degree. To give you a broader look at our customer, our Tam and Sam, here's Ariana.
So for our total addressable market, according to research, anyone who has graduated college, earned a degree, and is looking for a job, it would be around 80 million people. But when it comes down to our serviceable addressable market, the type of people we at Enrollage are looking for would be those who have ended up in a job that doesn't necessarily match their degree and are even satisfied, as well as current bachelor's and associate's degree graduates in the state of Illinois. Now, this particular research was a little harder to find, so the closest statistic I could find shows this would be about 896,000 people, and counting college graduates ready to find a job. Thus, we are predicting around this amount of people as our market for the first year, not even accounting for the high.
So we believe that LinkedIn and Glassdoor are our main competitors. What separates us from LinkedIn and Glassdoor is that we focus on a specific way of connecting people to jobs using only the degree. These companies have other factors like experience, preference, and more that push the significance of a degree away. When the role is you know you're getting a job that matches what you studied. Now here's Philip to explain our company's revenue process.
Our company will most likely run off of a subscription-based model paid by the user. We'd like to think that it could be more on the pricier side because a customer will see it as a one-time purchase for 1 month because hopefully he can get a job right away. And if not, if he doesn't find one within the first month, he wouldn't mind spending one more month trying to find the job. Following this, we'd have a non-intrusive ad on the side of the screen, something that subscription users wouldn't be able to see. And then lastly, potentially also have a small listing fee for any employers that want to advertise their work. Now, moving on to our COGS and selling prices. COGS, meaning the cost of goods sold, is essential to calculating profit. While our startup cost of creating the website will be somewhat pricier, the idea of this being a digital product means that there will be no cost per unit sold whatsoever. Once the site's done, the whole expensive work is done. And our key source of revenue will be people looking to find jobs on our sites. We decided to price it at $10 a month for the subscription just because we believe that's a good amount for someone just getting out of college. And we predict someone they will see it as a worthy investment as the money should come back in the future if they actually get a job out of it. Next up, here's Ariana to discuss how we'll be marketing for Enrollage.
So for Enrollage's marketing tactics at first, we'll start off with free marketing tactics, which include emails being sent out by our team with our words and through the team's social media. However, eventually, as we begin to start making enough money to upgrade our marketing ways, we hope to branch out to ads through Google and even YouTube, expanding the knowledge of our helpful ad, hopefully all over the internet and or world. Moving on to the legal aspects and intellectual properties of the business, here's Kevin.
The main thing we need to do is trademarking our name, make sure we copyright our URL, and finally putting a patent on our website code so it can't be stolen in any way. To kind of help our customers legally, they can quit their service at any time. And then as of right now, or for the foreseeable future, we have no plans of partnering with any other companies.
So this is our old business model canvas, or BMC. We decided to add a few additions and changes to make Enrollage more effective. As of right now, we decided to start with a website. since it would be less expensive. The website will be fairly simple and easy for customers to use and access. Also decided to add a search engine to help find jobs similar to give more variety. Since our customer segment are college students, we decided that a monthly price of $10 will be obtainable. And now here's Ariana to wrap up everything.
So here at Enrollage, we're dedicated to changing the lives of our customers for the better. We hope you choose us so we can continue our quest to save people and their time. Time is money after all. So remember, find success in the workplace at any degree with Enrollage. Thank you so much for listening.
So right now, at this time, we will open up to questions and answers for our judges here. So we ask that everyone stay on mute unless you are speaking. Thank you.
I guess I'll start off. Hi, I'm James. Really good presentation. I jotted down a few things. One, can you start off by introducing every member of, your company? One by one, you guys came in. It was hard to keep track of who is actually presenting. So that would be number one. A few things that actually came out to me was as a software engineer and a front-end software engineer, your COGS are not zero. You have server costs that will occur every month. Granted, if you have a free plan, sure, you can call that free. Your COGS aren't zero, right? As a software company, it's a digital cost. And so keep that in mind, right? When you're trying to figure out what your burn rate is or how much money a month you guys are going to end up spending running the operation, and price your plan accordingly, right? Or that knowledge will help you with fundraising asks. So that's one thing I would call out. And then two more things. One, the IP slide makes sense. That is not something I would focus on as a startup. I've done startups since I was 14, so a little bit younger than most of you. That's not what you need to focus on initially. Eventually, as a software company, your IP is what kind of investors are gonna buy into, and kind of what secures you guys as a player in the overall market. But that's not something I would focus on. And then one competitor you guys are missing in your competitors list is actually like headhunter companies. So these are companies that come in, they work more one-on-one with people. Usually, especially like software engineers, get a lot of cold calls and a lot of cold emails from them. And the way they get paid, which is a pricing change that you guys might want to adopt, is they usually get the first month salary from the company. So the company is the one paying these headhunters to find people talented enough to go work for them. So I would maybe pivot a little bit and say, okay, these companies who actually have money and who are looking for talented people, let them pay for you guys to source, the talent. And that's all I have. Otherwise, very good presentation.
Thank you.
Can we answer them as we go? Yeah, right? I think so.
Yeah, or I mean, I assume so. Yeah,
Okay.
this can be definitely a back and forth thing.
To introduce ourselves, well, I'm Ariana, and then they'll introduce themselves. So.
I'm Philip. We had a tiny miscommunication in the beginning, so hence why we didn't all accidentally introduce ourselves.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
yeah.
Victoria.
Hello, I'm Alonzo.
And if I could speak for the COGS part that you were talking about, I guess we kind of were more thinking when we were talking about COGS, like per subscription. We're not necessarily getting like a cost as if we were selling like a lollipop. We wouldn't be having to pay for the lollipop, but I guess in the long term, I guess you do have to put those costs together. So we do have to maybe change that up a bit.
Yeah, I would think about it too. It's as a software company too, and I guess any company that does marketing, you also have to think about what it would cost to acquire a customer, right? And this goes more hand in hand with the marketing expenditure of like, oh, it costs us $1 to acquire, any given customer who then signs up for a plan. So now your profits are down to $9 minus, and then you have to minus, software expenditure, like software fees, etc. How much you guys are going to pay yourselves. I would think about it more so like that when dealing with a digital company.
Let's see. Hi, this is Liz. And great presentation. It was really well put together, very professional looking. So kudos to you guys on your presentation. I second a lot of what James said, and I come to it from a marketing aspect. I'm a marketer. And your cost of goods do have to include some marketing costs because to get these college students, you have to do some advertising, whether you're using Google websites, whether you're using email campaigns, there's all a cost to that. So you do need to factor that in. To your point, it's not a lollipop, but in today's world, software has costs and lots of costs, almost as much as hardware, the candy that goes into making a lollipop, to your point. The biggest question I had was, how are you going to find jobs? You addressed how you're going to find college students, but you didn't address how you're going to populate your site with enough jobs that a college student would find success. Because you can drive people to your site to begin with, but unless people find success in it and have successful stories, it won't last. People will go back to LinkedIn and some of the other very robust sites that are out there for finding jobs. So seems like you might have a real strong uphill battle in trying to find a position in the marketplace against places like LinkedIn, which everybody is very familiar with as a tool to finding jobs. So that would be my question. If any of you guys have an answer as to how you're going to find the jobs to post or where you're going to link them to.
When we were creating the idea, I think that was one of our most difficult points on how we actually reach out to all the jobs optimally. We'd be able to, just through the advertisements themselves, maybe people that work under another company can potentially tell the person that employed them. However, that's definitely a question that we're still struggling to kind of figure out and is an ongoing thing we're trying to decide. So about very, very good question. We're still working on it a little.
I also want to add that even before we actually start up our website and our whole enrollage, actually, I would think that the team we would make sure that there are jobs looking for college graduates first, and figure out if we can somehow collaborate with them before and put it and move that into our algorithm with the website before actually having graduates and students look and start using it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Otherwise, I think you guys did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, this is Jim. And again, I echo nice job on the presentation. The aspect of this that I'm struggling with is the idea of asking the job candidate or the college student to pay for this service. That would make you highly unique in the industry. Typically, job search sites don't charge the candidate, they charge the employer. So I'm just curious how you came to that conclusion or that decision, and what extra value are you adding or providing to the applicant over what a free site like Indeed or Monster.com or any of those others would be providing.
I believe when we started out with a subscription idea, I believe it was that kind of like helping the person along the way as they try to find jobs. that, obviously we do straight to degree to job, so there's gonna be a lot of job offers, and so that way the person that uses the website can kind of go through them, and we can kind of maybe help them with the process, because finding a job is more like it's sort of like a process, like figuring out which one works for you, so that way they have they have a lot more options, right? And so that can obviously take a little bit more time than say just like a quick search on Indeed or something, which would be very specific, but won't really give you a lot of options.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Brandon. This is Brandon. Yeah, I mean, great job. Really interesting and unique take on the job finding aspect of graduates. I would say just a couple add-ons is from a marketing perspective. So I actually teach at College of DuPage, and I can say that probably 60% of the students I teach don't know about LinkedIn or that as a site, which is kind of surprising. But for you, it's a good opportunity. So, I just think about how you can engage in college students early on, particularly if, as you were just talking about, you're going to provide added value versus other job finding sites. That might be something to think about, is more of a bundled package of, if they're going to pay $10, that you're going to do resume reviews or something in addition to just helping them find a job, like the process as you were talking about, versus just actually clicking through and searching just jobs like everyone else offers, but as Jim said, for free. So that's just my add to the comments that have already been discussed.
Really quickly, just to add on to what Kevin was saying with Jim's question, I also wanted to say that I think when we were deciding on the price of $10, like a $10 subscription or $10 monthly, I think the goal is so that they only pay the $10 and they hopefully find their job and they don't have to use it again. Like, yes, it's a subscription, but we don't want them to have to keep paying it. We just want to help them, and hopefully them understanding what our main goal is and what we are trying to do for them. Hopefully they choose us to pay that $10, and maybe hopefully won't have to do that again.
And that's also why we have it so that they can cancel at any time. So that once they do find a job for them, they can that's it. They can just get out. No more extra payments.
I guess that does make sense, but there's other ways of going about it. If you really want to target the employee or potential employee here, you could take a look at how boot camps, software boot camps, do it. A lot of those software boot camps, one, it's an upfront cost of it, you pay it like you would at college. The other ones, it's free to go into the program, but once you enroll, you sign a contract, and once you enroll, once you get a job afterwards, they take a percentage or a fee from your salary. And again, like if we're talking about struggling college kids, even though it's still $10 and maybe they spend more on Starbucks every month than that, you're going to have a likelier chance of getting more money from businesses or playing that side of the market versus, I think, college students. Because when you go to sign up for a website, you also have to realize they have to put their credit card down. They're going to hesitate, and you're going to lose some potential people, signing up due to the fact that it's a paid service. So maybe doing something like what Brandon said, where you provide more than just a job listing site. You have to entice them more than just, hey, here's some better curated jobs, is what I would get at.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
All right, that's all the time we have for question and answer for group one for enrollage. So enrollage, awesome job to you guys. Next up, let's bring up group two, peer partners.
Hello, so we're peer partners. I'm Jordan.
I'm Cindy. I'm Warren.
And I'm Jacob.
As a transition to online learning been conflicting, no sense of community, no sense of guidance, and for many, a lost opportunity for future volunteer hours. Programs that were previously in place, such as Access, a student mentor arrangement, is no longer applicable in a virtual setting. I know personally, as a freshman, I really connected with my Access mentors, and in fact, I still keep in contact with some of them to this day. I feel that it's really important to keep those relationships going in a virtual setting, and everybody could use a helping hand. This is why we came up with Peer Partners, an amazing online website that gives freshmen the ability to connect with upperclassmen for advice and guidance on a broad spectrum of issues they may be having. And while you may be asking, what's in it for the upperclassmen? From the comfort of their own home, they will receive volunteer hours that are pretty much non-existent in today's day.
And to give a little insight on sort of my experience being an Access mentor last year and being part of that student-mentor relationship that we had after school, every day I was actively helping these younger students, whether it was with schoolwork or a question that they had about school itself. And so I, in that program, really saw how a lot of times these students were sort of afraid to be in that sort of new environment. And especially with COVID and having to transition online, I think that's another factor that us as a team, we really took in and we really wanted to emphasize and sort of create an online program where help can be accessed. And then apart from that, we also want to give the upperclassmen like us the ability to get volunteer hours through our program. And you'll see in our next slide, which is our demo video, a little bit more about our company and sort of our goals and what we want to accomplish.
While the expansion of the digital world and the transition for many to virtually learn comes with positives, it also lays many negative impacts, specifically for high school students. That one's ability to interact with peers, teachers, and others has simply become a challenge. Imagine what current freshman students are facing.
In general, the first year of high school is challenging enough. Now, they have to adapt to an online environment to which they're unable to make new friends, connect with others, ask for guidance, and much more.
Peer Partners is a free online Leyden-based community website that gives freshmen the ability to connect with one of our upperclassmen mentors. These one-on-one connections with experienced students serve to fulfill the needs of struggling freshmen. Whether it's academic challenges, a simple question, or just someone to talk to, Peer Partners is a great website to access.
Freshmen can sign up using their school email and from there be assigned a mentor. You and your mentor can use our chat feature, video feature, and other resources to help throughout the school year.
It's students helping students.
So prior to creating our demo video, our first step in the process was creating sort of this problem solution interview. And we did so by creating a survey and then giving it to some of the teachers at Leyden and administrators, and for them to give it to the upperclassmen and the underclassmen. And we definitely noticed that there were more responses from the upperclassmen, so that's something that we definitely took into consideration. And so some of the questions that we asked in the survey was for upperclassmen if they would be interested in being a mentor and gaining volunteer hours from the comfort of their own home. And as you can see by the blue, the majority of responses said yes, which was a really good point for us, and again sort of shows how our company was viable. And then for freshmen, we asked if they would be interested in being part of the mentorship program and having a mentor that they can look up to. And we did notice that the majority of responses were upperclassmen, but those underclassmen who did answer, specifically the freshmen, they did show interest in the program, which was another really good point. And then we also asked how often these students are facing these problems. So for the upperclassmen, if they're not getting volunteer hours, or for the underclassmen, if they're having like trouble at school, or if they need help. And on a scale of 1 to 10, we had sort of a middle point of 5. And then lastly, we also asked, would you rather have an app or a website? And we did see in the responses that most of the students would have wanted an app, which we understand, but sort of as a company, we felt like we had a lot more experience with creating a website, and we also felt like a lot more people would be able to access that website from their tablets, phones, computers, and basically on any device. And so I'm going to be passing it on to Jordan, who's going to show you an example of how our website would look.
So going off what Cindy said, we decided as a company to do a website, and this is just an example of what our website might look like. This is by no means the final product, but pretty much this is just to show the basic features of what our website will have. And so students will get to fill out certain criteria for like what class they're struggling in, what's the grade in that class, and our system will put them together with a best fit of an upperclassman who excels in such class. Here's an example of what some of the students might look like that use our website. On to Cindy for the customer persona.
So as you can see on the left, one of our students, his name is Alex, and a little bit about his demographics is that he's a male, a freshman, he's Hispanic, and he lives in Franklin Park. And that's something that we really want to emphasize because we definitely want to start our company within our school grounds, so East and West Leyden, and from there hopefully be able to expand. And then a little bit about sort of their lifestyle. He likes to play football, soccer, and video games. And what motivates him is sports and his parents and schoolwork. And so if he was able to access our Peer Partners website, if he had an issue with any of those topics, he could definitely reach out to a mentor and have those problems be solved. And then on the right here, we have Haley, and a little bit about her. She's a female, a senior white, and lives in River Grove. And again, sort of starting in our region, so smaller. And then about her lifestyle, she's a dancer involved in Lion clubs. She loves to volunteer. She's very family oriented, etc. And so what motivates her is helping others and also doing well academically. And so if she were able to access our Peer Partners website, she could be actively helping other people and then also be gaining volunteer hours, which is a great opportunity for her. But now I'm going to be passing it on to Lauren, who's going to talk a little bit about the statistics of our company and our total addressable market.
So for our total addressable market, we started off by finding out that the total income or incoming freshmen in the US would be 620,000 students. So then after doing some further research, we found in a study done in 2017 from the US Department of Education that there is 10% of students all around the United States who typically go for a mentor arrangement or any sort of tutoring. So in order to find our estimated total number of buyers, we took the 10% of our 620,000 and we got 62,000 estimated amount of buyers for our company. So moving on to our serviceable available market, we ended up wanting our total of buyers to be 3,419, kind of like what Cindy was saying about keeping it within our region and our district. We wanted it to be between East and West Leyden students at first, and then after East and West goes successfully, then we would want to branch out. So again, using that 10% from the total addressable market, we ended up finding out that we would have an estimated total number of customers of 342. So while that is still kind of small, this is only for our region, and then from there we would still use that 10% to go further with other districts and other schools. Now moving on to Jacob, who will talk to us a little bit more about competitors.
Next, we have our competitors. So we're going to be talking about two of our competitors, GroupMe and Google Meet. GroupMe connects students with one another, being able to chat with one another They can also chat with the mentor with one another. Also the same with Google Meet. You can video chat, you can connect with one another, you can talk. And our website will offer both of what those two competitors offer. So basically all together in one. Next we have Jordan on how we differentiate our competitors.
This is how we differentiate ourselves from our competitors. And pretty much, like I said in the example website, we're going to be connecting the underclassmen and upperclassmen. And there's the student who is struggling in a class, and then the student that excels in a class. We're going to be pairing them together. And for advice, guidance, and general homework help, we're more of a tutoring system where it's direct on, head to head. And we're also offering the volunteer hours that no other website does. And lastly, we're in a new era of learning, and we don't know how much longer that these times will be going on. So we feel that we need to keep things going and hit the problem head on. On to Cindy for our UVP.
So a little bit about our unique value proposition. We really wanted to have something that was short, simple, and sweet. And so we came up with students helping students. And again, trying to emphasize sort of how we would differentiate from our competitors. Our website is specifically going to be catered to students. And so if you see GroupMe or Google Meets, you see that it's not only students using it, it's corporations, businesses, families, etc. But we really want our website to be emphasized on only students using it. And we also want to have a website that's super simple and easy to use. We also really want to create a safe online environment for students, again, being in this online environment and everything that has happened for COVID, we really want to emphasize that. And now handing it off to Jacob, who's going to talk a little bit about the money needed for our MVP.
So next we're talking about the money needed for our MVP. So first we're going to start with $10 per year for our domain name with whatever we choose. Next we're starting with $0 for advertising for Google AdSense and $0 for our website because we'll be using the free Weebly website. Next we're going to be passing it on to Lauren talking about the COG.
So for our cost of goods sold, while it does look like a very low price, it would be 1 cent. And that comes from our startup costs, like Jacob had said, about the $10 for our domain name. So that would be our startup cost. And like we were saying earlier, we want it to be the total number of customers and buyers from both East and West Leyden, so all of the students, which would be 3,419. So that would give us our 1 cent cost of goods sold. So for our selling price, as you can see, there are two different prices. So again, like Jacob was saying, we are planning on using AdSense to have some sort of revenue. So we can receive $5 per ad click, and with for our revenue with the $5, it would be about $11,000 per year. And for the $10, just like Schoology, they have a one-time fee. And with that one-time fee, it would be the $10, and then they would be able to access it whenever they want to, but each year they would have to renew it. So for the first year, we would be making about $34,000 if we had the selling price of $10. So now moving on to Jordan, who will talk to us a little bit more about marketing.
So for our marketing, we're getting free publicity from our school. We plan to go to our administrators at Leyden and talk to them about our idea and try to help grow together as a community. And then as we get bigger, we plan to go to social media websites like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to boost our advertising. And then lastly, we have Google AdSense, who we pay, and pretty much they do the advertising for us. They send it out to people that would actually use our website, and they do pretty much everything for us. On to Jacob for our sales strategies.
So for our sales strategy, we'll be using the concierge type. We want to manually match each student based on the shown interest that they have. So we want to make sure that the student is comfortable with who their mentor is, and we want to make sure the mentor is comfortable with the student so that things can match perfectly and go smoothly. We have students that will be able to connect with via email or phone. And so basically, so it's easier to connect in case one thing isn't working or, other things like that. And we also will be measuring it around East and West population so that everyone is able to visit our website and continue on from that point. And I believe next is legality information. So for our legality information, our patent is basically the online access that we have to our website. So that way we have access and no one else does. For our trademarks, it's basically so we show rights to have our name and logo, showing that it's proving it's ours. And copyright is also to show that it is our website. Next, we have Lauren speaking on our business model canvas.
So for our business model canvas, our final one, pretty much everything stayed the same. We kept up with our customer problems, our solutions, our unique value proposition. Pretty much the only things that really changed were our cost structure, where we started off with having just ads to keep our website running. We then moved on to having a free website with AdSense to bring in revenue. And then after thinking more and looking more into other competitors and other online businesses, we then added the one-time fee or the renewal of the $10 per year to then also add that to our cost structure. For our revenue streams, we started off with just having the ads and paying for the ads, and then it went on to the website's traffic, and then after doing some more research, we then added the website traffic and also the fee for the $10 to keep our company running and our website running. And that's pretty much what stayed the same or what changed throughout our final business model canvas. Now on to Cindy for our big takeaways.
Okay, so a little bit about our big takeaways and what we want you guys to take away from our company and sort of what we really want to emphasize and offer. So the first thing is connect. And again, how we've been emphasizing through this entire time, we really want to connect the upperclassmen to the underclassmen and create that mentorship relationship. And then we also want to emphasize expand. We were talking about this previously in a couple of other slides, how we want to start locally, so in the East and West Leyden region, just so if any problems arise or mistakes happen, we're able to fix that, and then really try growing within our community, and then possibly expanding, in the Cook County region, in the Illinois region, Midwest, and then nationwide. And then lastly, we really want to create a program where we're actively assisting other people. And so the upperclassmen are obviously going to be assisting the underclassmen in some way, but we also, as a team, we want to assist those upperclassmen who really need those volunteer hours right now. And it's definitely a problem, especially because of COVID, so we want to assist them in that way. And now I'm going to hand it off to Jordan with a little message from us.
Just a thank you from peer partners, and we're students helping students.
Thank you, and we are open to any suggestions or any questions.
I'll start this time. Great job. Really, really nice presentation. The very first question I need to ask you is, first of all, I love the concept. I think you guys have something here that can be really important, particularly for the freshmen coming into the school each year. But what I want to make sure is, did you actually talk to school administration, and did they confirm that they would accept these mentoring hours as volunteer, as counting toward your required volunteer hours?
So far we have actually not been sort of talking about that situation, but we know that in prior years, we've had this program called Access at our school. And so there are a couple of seniors and juniors who are like the upperclassmen, and then all the freshmen, they basically are assigned like a mentor. And so after school, it's like a 30-minute program. And within that program, those upperclassmen were able to receive those volunteer hours. And so we think that if we were able to have that sort of conversation with our administrators, I think they would be really open to that, because this year we haven't been able to have that program. And we really see that sort of disconnect in our freshman students, and it being canceled, I think it was sort of a big problem. And I think a lot of students sort of in Leyden who are part of that program, especially the upperclassmen, that's how they're able to achieve those volunteer hours, and then sort of show that, you know, they're helping other students, and also showing to colleges how, you know, I have all these volunteer hours from being in this program. And so I think that the Leyden administrators would be really open to talking with us about that. And that's, I think, sort of our next step for our company.
Okay. The other thing that wasn't clear is, whom are you actually charging the $10 fee to?
So the $10 fee would be given to the school. So right now, the school is paying $10 per student for their access to Schoology. So otherwise, we wouldn't be able to go onto Schoology, our Leyden part of Schoology, and access it if we were on an outside of the campus or outside of the district. So we would be paying or putting that $10 fee towards the school. So for the school, they would have to be paying the $34,000 per year, or per year the one-time fee.
Okay, that was not obvious in the numbers that you presented, but that makes a bit more sense. Which actually kind of leads me to my next question, and then I'll pass it on. Have you, rather than this being more of a subscription model, have you thought about doing this more as a licensing model, where you're building an overall structure, an overall program, and providing that infrastructure to various schools, allowing them to then license it from you, that they may brand for the school or may not? Very similar to actually how the Incubator Ed program works. So have you thought about it in those terms?
We haven't really thought of it in that way, just because as of right now, we're kind of doing like the concierge type, just so that we can connect like our specific East and West Leyden students together. But definitely, if we expand to the district, to Cook County, to Illinois, Midwest, nationwide, then that is definitely something that we would love to take into consideration. Just like Schoology is kind of taken by each school or each district, they do it, that would definitely be a great idea. Thank you for that idea.
Yeah, great job. Very, very good presentation. Jim kind of covered everything. The $10 I assumed was from the freshmen, which I was taken back by, and then was going to say, why isn't the school paying for this? But obviously the school is. The licensing idea Jim mentioned too is another avenue you could look into. I think that would be very beneficial. I understand your initial target is Leyden. As a company, you want to look past that. You want to be able to provide, running a company on $34,000, I would say almost isn't a company. Like, you have to look at the broader market, and you already called that out with your TAMs. So sure, Leyden's your first target market, customer, and that made sense because you have the connections there, but look past that. So when you're trying to come up with programs or features, look past of what other schools might want to. With your stats that you gave, drop the not applicable people. You said not a freshman. That just muddies the stats to me. I want to know, okay, of freshmen, how many are saying yes and how many are saying no to that question? I don't really care about who you asked who it doesn't apply to. So I would do that with the stats, make it cleaner, make it more straightforward. So that way any investor can come in and be like, okay, yeah, there is demand here, and that's why the solution is going to work. That's basically it. You had a success bullet in there around, you want 50% of East and West Leyden students. In business, you call that KPI, right? Key performance indicator. Be more specific with that. Like, what do you want? Like, is it, I want 50% of students from each school to talk once? Is it like per month? Like, pull out some real numbers there. So that way you know what you're driving for. And be ambitious with that. Like, KPIs aren't supposed to be always attainable. And then really quick, instead of just focusing on, hey, I'm struggling with math or science and pairing me with a mentor for that, it might be easier and just to start off of, hey, here's a buddy system. I work for Grubhub full time, and even I'm a mentor for new hires that come in, right? So I spend a month with them. We chat every once a week, and it just builds that kind of culture for our company. And so it's something that I would look at as well. Either provide it as a feature, or maybe just focus on that initially of, hey, these freshmen, and some of them might be coming from out of town, or who knows their situation, and they might not be comfortable or might not have friends or something like that, to where this buddy could actually like propel them forward. And then if they are struggling with subjects, the buddy could also provide resources. And then that gives you time to build the algorithms and things necessary in order to pair people up in that way. So it's a quicker starting path, maybe. But outside of that, great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, this is Liz. I agree. The presentation was great. A great concept. It seems like it would be a useful tool for incoming freshmen and also for seniors. And I like Jim's comment of maybe looking at this more as similar to the incubator. In fact, you might want to interview people at the incubator to see how they're promoting their program and selling it to different schools. The other thing I had, you talk a lot about COVID. Well, we're starting to be off of COVID, and by the fall, COVID will probably not be that big of a deal. So you might want to look at adapting your presentation just in general for students, and not necessarily focusing just on our COVID times. Because I think it would be really valuable even during the regular school year as a tool, as more people are online, as a tool for people to connect. And also, you talk about the cost being zero. You really have some startup costs. Now, whether you make the school pay for it, which is probably where you would pay for it, but even when you start to be back in school, putting up posters, different things in the school to get students to see your site and to understand how you can help them might be somewhere. And then there's a cost to that. Now, whether the school pays for it or it comes out of your business model. So, but good job, great stuff. I think could be really valuable for your school and for others.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome job. The only build I had on, because everyone else had really great comments and suggestions for you, is this would work actually really well at the college level too. So if you think about expanding it beyond high school, particularly to Liz's point of post-COVID, if you think, like Ohio State University has 60,000 students. So incoming freshmen, that would be a huge plus, is you're not gonna be able to meet everyone. And it might be a little bit overwhelming in a large situation like that versus like a smaller school where they tend to pair you up with it. It's easier to kind of navigate your way through that. So that would just be my only add is to James's and Jim's point of thinking bigger. And that could open up a whole new avenue for you as well. But that said, though, I love the fact that you guys were very realistic in your acquisition numbers, right? Instead of going pie in the sky, I mean, you almost went too far into the realism side of it. So that was refreshing as well.
Thank you so much.
Partners, our third and final group is Track It. They will be 100% remote here. It looks like we might have about just 5 or so minutes of question and answer after this presentation because we have till only 9:45. So if we don't get to everybody, you can just email me as a feedback and I will go, and as a class and as groups, we will go through the feedback tomorrow with Group 3 Track It. Once again, great job here, partners. And here we go with Group 3 Track It.
All right, this is Track It. Hi, my name is Kareem.
I'm Nicholas.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jesus. Hey, have you ever stayed up until midnight to finish all your homework? Or maybe even had to do it during the period before you turn it in? Or even had to copy off a friend's homework? Well, now you don't have to thanks to Track It. Track It will help you manage your time no matter what situation you're in. The way we put it, don't slack, stay on track. Simply enter your assignments, the amount of time you think they will take to complete, and when you need to turn them in, Track It notifies you to complete your homework. Better yet, if your teacher or boss has Track.
And here's our product demo.
Now moving on to our problem solution graphs with Kareem.
All right, so with our app, we want to focus on a very broad spectrum of people. So workers, employers, high school and college students, but our main focus right now is high school students. So we conducted interviews. We asked a lot of high school students. You could see right here, the majority of them were seniors, but if you look at how many AP classes they're taking, the majority is 2 to 3. So these are like, pretty good students. And we asked them, how many of you guys have difficulty completing your homework? And do you wish that you had a better system for completing your homework? However, the most important statistic, which is on the next slide, was this, where we showed them the product demo and asked how many of you guys would use this app or how many would you download the app? 17% said no, 49% said maybe, but 34% said yes, and that's our main focus. Moving on now to some legal metrics before we get into the the real details here. Obviously, we have to copyright everything that we code or anything that we script. We have to trademark our name. We're going to be storing information about the students, so there's a lot with the privacy policy there. And then any contracts, again, really down the line with businesses, but primarily with schools. So now we're going to move on to our customer personas with Adam.
So our first persona is Gustavo, who's a high school senior. So after school, he plays soccer for about 2 hours. He gets to work on afternoons on the weekends, and he spends his free time doing homework and using social media. Our second persona is Olivia. She's a high school junior. She takes 3 AP classes, which can be time consuming and pretty difficult. And she also works a part-time job and spends her free time studying with friends. This will not only help her maintain her academic schedule, but also her employment schedule.
All right, now obviously I know there's a very large number on the bottom, but we're making some very stark assumptions with our total addressable market. So we took the population of people and we took everybody over the age of 14, which is a very large number. And obviously this is an app, so 81% of Americans have smartphones. We multiplied that, and then our average unit price, which is on a yearly basis, we're offering a premium subscription, which we'll get into later on, but that puts us at a very large number. So let's move on to our serviceable addressable market, which is much more realistic here. Again, we're focusing primarily right now on high school students. So in America, there are 17 million high school students with smartphones. Of the people we interviewed, 34% said 100% they would download the app. Again, there's like 40% said maybe, but we're just going to ignore that for now. 24% of the people we interviewed said they would use it every day. And then from our own research, we found that on average, 5% of active users make a premium purchase. So that puts our estimated total customers at 70,000. And then again, our premium subscription price is $12.99. So that puts our yearly revenue at $900,000. Now moving on to Nicholas, who's going to provide more details on the app itself.
So the app itself, what's going to set it apart from some other time management tools or applications is that we want to have that one-to-one connection between students and employees with their teachers and managers. So here, what we want to have the teachers and managers directly assign the tasks. So those will go straight to the employees and the students. They'll know exactly what needs to get done, when it needs to get done, and they'll have a completion submission process of some sorts. Now, this can vary depending on the type of job. It could be a screenshot showing visual proof. It could be a submission showing a upload of a document. It could be just a checklist saying, checking off this is completed. It depends on what exactly the job is and what the actual teachers and managers require. Now moving on with some of our competitors, we have mainly Google Calendar and Schoology. Now, Google Calendar, it's basically no different from any calendar you'd have hanging on your wall. It's basically just going to list out every event that you have on certain days of the month, and it's not really good as a reminder tool unless you're constantly looking at a calendar. And on top of that, there's not really a good communication source inside of Google Calendar. You'd have to use an external source like email or text. Then there's Schoology, which has a very odd UI. It's kind of difficult to use, kind of easy to get lost. And while it does have some reminders, they're easy to completely miss. And another thing is Schoology also has a communication source, but again, not as good as something like text or email. And another thing with Schoology, that only focuses on students, where we want to have not only students, but also employees and the managers. Moving on to the cost of goods sold and the selling price, here is Kareem.
All right, so our cost of goods sold, we put at 15 cents per download. Now this is a monthly cost. So say we're using 1 gigabyte of data for one user. We from what we researched, that would cost about 10 cents a month. So we averaged it to just 15 because over time, obviously the costs are going to build with everything else. So we just averaged it on a basis per download. And then our selling price, as we said, we have a premium membership. That's how we plan to make the majority of our revenue, which we're pricing at $12.99 per year. Now moving on to Nicholas with our startup marketing tactics.
When we start up, the way we want to focus on some advertising is through some free sources. We're going to start with some social media pages like YouTube, where we'll have some homemade advertisements and some video tutorials detailing some features of the app and how to actually use it. As well, we'll also have some other pages like Facebook and Instagram, where we'll have pictures of the app. We'll have posts that detail some maintenance updates. We'll have short videos that could also be on YouTube, but would also fit on something like Facebook or Instagram. As well, we can also repost some other people's posts where they're talking about their satisfaction with Trackit. Another way that we want to start up our marketing is by reaching out to some businesses and schools that we think would benefit from the use of Trackit. We'll do this by calling them and emailing them, detailing the app and saying how we think they'd benefit from having Trackit in their day-to-day activity. Here, detailing our business model canvas is Adam.
So starting with our customer problems, we identified that keeping track of assignments that are assigned to employees and students can be difficult. So having something like Trackit would help very much, which leads us to our solution. Workers and students can list their tasks and homework and set notification reminders for themselves. And then our unique value proposition is don't slack, stay on track. And then there's also some other information, like the cost structure, would be building the app, maintaining the app, advertisements, and then revenue stream, premium features, and advertisements.
So basically, with our initial hypothesis, we came to the conclusion that students and employees, they have this huge problem when it comes to time management. It's a problem that we all face or can face, no matter who we are. Students, employees, anyone can face these problems. And a key way to solve that would be with better one-to-one connection, something that will give them much easier way of connecting with their higher ups so that they can know exactly what needs to be done. They can get any additional assistance if necessary. And this way, no one will be left behind. No one will forget what needs to be done. They will be able to stay on track. With our minimal viable product idea, here is Kareem.
So right now, obviously, it's very difficult to, really work with a creator and an engineer on a prototype. However, we have a solution, and our solution is to create a video, another like product demo. But of course, this demo would go into much more detail. It would actually be like a representation of how the app would function and what it would look like. So the main key aspects of this minimal viable product would be the app design, the layout, how it would function between users. We place this at $0 because we would create it. So it would cost time, but obviously we're not paying anybody to create it. So yeah. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, don't slack, stay on track.
Okay, great job with Track It. We have about 4 or 5 minutes here for question and answer. And if we do not get to every judge, like I said, you can email me and we will go over all the feedback tomorrow in class. Again, great job, Track It.
Very good job. All 3 groups did great presentations. I'll be really quick so that way other judges can call in. Missing competitors, for business side of things, you should also take a look at like Scrum, Agile type of apps like Trello, Asana, Jira, etc. There's a ton of big ones, especially software companies use this to kind of track our day-to-day and our week-to-week and long-term. So be sure when looking for features for businesses to compare it to those apps too. MVP, it's not $0. Like, you have software costs in there. You have, like, if you're going to buy stock images, if you have subscriptions to high-end like Adobe products, like, keep track of those. Like, really quick, I feel like a lot of students in this program always are afraid to ask for real money and the right amount of money. Don't make yourselves go broke early on. Like, you are pitching to investors, ask for the money you need. Be realistic with that. Other than that, really, really good. Also take a look at it. This sounds like a whole trying to solve like the Parkinson's law, which is, a task will take up the allotted time. So if you give yourself 2 weeks to do it, or homework, if you give yourself a week to do it, you're going to wait until basically the last minute to then, like, it's procrastination that you're trying to solve. So maybe look into a little bit more studies around that. There's probably some scientific evidence of how to help solve that or chunk pieces down. So that way you can solve itty bitty parts all the way up to the completion of it. Other than that, really, really good job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be sure to look at that.
Good job. But it took me a while to figure out what your product was. So you may want to, in your presentation, start out a little bit sooner in the presentation, identifying what it is that you're trying to propose. It took me a long time to figure out what are we talking about. So that would be one of my comments to your presentation in general is even prior to the video, introduce what it is you're trying to solve. Because I didn't think the video did a great job of giving me the answer of what you were trying to do. So as a marketer, that would be one of my comments.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a little hiccup there with the second slide between Jesus, but yeah, something got cut off. But thank you.
Time is short, so I'll just say very nice job. I didn't really have much to add besides what other judges had already said, but thank you.
Yeah, again, yeah, nice job, guys.
Awesome. Well, once again, everybody, I just want to thank all of our volunteers for attending this morning and obviously helping our students out and achieve their goals. Congrats to the 3 groups that went today and worked extremely hard throughout Q1 and Q3 to put these presentations together in a time that is definitely new for all of us. So again, awesome job, guys. Thanks again to Tech, for setting all this up, and to our mentors and coaches for helping our students out. If you have anything to add to Group 3 Track It, you can shoot me an email, and we will go over all that feedback tomorrow. And then Thursday, we will have 2 more groups to go through, and we will pick our winner and who we feel was most prepared for our final pitches. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you Thursday.